Paddy Finn here, aka the Dragon DM, coming to you from inside my car once again. So, funny story about that. In my last video, I did the same thing, talked to you guys from my car. I kind of said I didn't really want to be doing that too often, and that's still the case, but the fact of the matter is I will be doing it for, the foreseeable future now and then. I'm getting a new office in about a week or two, and it'll probably still take a few weeks for me to get the studio set up in there. The studio at home is not conducive to, it's just not reliable. We've got kids, we've got another kid coming along, and it's just, things are a bit up in the air. So we're doing it here. Here we are, coming at you from inside the Nissan X-Trail of Paddy Finn. And one or two of you guys reached out and said, Paddy, loved your energy. You obviously came after training, you brought a lot of energy to the video, keep doing it. And some other people were saying, this content is better than no content. And it's true. I've been putting off content for so long. I've been wanting to do a YouTube video for over, you'll see my earliest video was probably a year, 2 years old, and I did a few on and off, and you know what, I just need to embrace it, get on it, do it. So just finished training, a little bit of breath, heading to get my coffee at McDonald's. I always go to coffee around lunchtime after training session, so 3 days a week. So you're going to see McDonald's a few times in the background as well. Don't worry, I'm not eating burgers, although I might do sometimes. And actually, funny thing is, Peter Hunter, our art director, reached out and he said, Paddy, you're freaking out doing a video when you're driving, coming up to those junctions. Well, this one's for you, Peter, because I'm actually driving a lot more in this one than I was the other day. Hopefully it won't freak you out too much, Peter. Yeah, Peter's a great guy. Don't know what I would do without him. Taking care of all the artists, making sure shit gets done. The kind of person you always want to have around when you're trying to put something together like I almost said Dragon Magazine. Ooh, dodgy IP copyright infringement thing right there. The reason I said it actually is because I have a copy of Dragon Magazine next to me. Actually, I've got about 4 or 5 copies. About a dozen of these arrived in the post today. And check out the stunning artwork on that. Look at it. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it well on the camera, if the angle is wide enough, but that's the kind of stuff we want to be putting out, people. And you know what, I'm going to order my coffee and then I'll speak to you a little bit more about Dragon Magazine, the mag of holding, what we hope to do. Yeah, so you'll see me on Facebook groups. I jump in and I'll go to certain groups that are built up around certain books, even just general Dungeons and Dragons groups, and I'll be like, guys, we're making this magazine, we're making this publication, we've got this book full of magic items, this book full of frozen wasteland setting. What would you like to see? What settings are you currently playing in? How would you improve those? What content would you like to see in those? What do you think is missing so that we can create that content, put it out, get it into your hands, and you can use it in your games so that you don't really have to think about it too much. You see, that's the thing about a Dungeon Master. Dungeon Masters have an insane amount of work. I see it all the time. People, because Dungeons and Dragons is exploding as a game that people are playing online these days because of the plague, and it's a great way to get together and to interact socially with people, though be it not in person, it's better than nothing. And one of the things I'm seeing a lot is, people getting together, realizing they need a dungeon master, even some people who have played the game before, and you see some people saying, I see this post every day, people, at least once every day. A dungeon master will come along, or should I say a new dungeon master who is about to run their first game, and they say, guys, I take my hat off to all you dungeon masters out there, because I've played Dungeons & Dragons for a while. This is my first time running a game and I had no idea how much work it was. I had no idea how much preparation and rewriting and building other bits and pieces and plugging holes, and I had no idea how much of that was involved in running a game. And it's so true. You can run a game as is. Any adventure that comes as written, even if you're not doing homebrew is adding a whole new dimension, and we do plan on focusing a little bit on that, adding to your setting, bringing articles out around world building for your own world, how to make your own characters, NPCs, magic items, political systems, commerce, trade, businesses, how that would all fit in to make a believable world if you're building your own world. But other people, even if they're running a setting that exists, Barovia, Icewind Dale, the Sword Coast, Waterdeep, Eberron, one of the other many settings in the Forgotten Realms or any of the other IPs that are out there. Even if you have an adventure module that with a setting, for example, Wildmount, Critical Role, Matt Mercer brought out that book last year. Great book, fantastic, beautiful art, very well laid out. Even if you have that setting and you're running an adventure in there, you still need to do a lot of work as a dungeon master, because if someone was going to write a book that could do everything for a dungeon master, that book would it would take up a whole library on its own. So you can't just have one book that does it all for you. There's a lot of work involved in running a game as a dungeon master, making it believable, creating a beautiful, immersive experience for your players and yourself, because you're in there too, you're enjoying it, you're developing the story along with them, and it's a lot of fun as a dungeon master because players take your story and adventure, or should I say the story, because it belongs to everyone, it's a collective. They take things in a direction you would never expect, and you see some dungeon masters complaining about that. It's like, there's only one guarantee with a group of players, and that is they will go off in a direction you didn't anticipate. And they say that as if it's a bad thing, but hell, that's what you want. It's like reading a book. You don't skip to the last page of the book and then read the ending and then go and start the book and read it from start to finish again, because what's the point? You already know the ending. Where's the fun? And there's nothing to discover, there's nothing new. So to me, that's the beautiful part about being a dungeon master and seeing players do things that you didn't expect. Players always blow my mind. I mean, I'm a professional writer. I have been making a living writing stories and selling characters and creating character development, story arcs, and building worlds. I've done this for about 3 years full time. So I'm a professional. I enjoy it. I'm pretty good at it. But even then, my players come along, 4 players every week, every 2 weeks when I play my games, and they do things 10 times better than I ever could have envisioned. It's a bit like when you're writing a book and the characters in your book, you may have a plan for them, but every now and then, even your character in your book will turn around and give you the middle finger, and they'll go and do their own thing, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? That was so much better than I could have done. So that's the great thing about players. They add so much more texture and color. They develop the story in so many more ways that are better than anything that you could do as a single person. It's a collective experience, and because you have more people coming, you have more diversity, you have more points of view plugging into it, adding all these beautiful, this beautiful variety, this beautiful palette of all these things that you maybe couldn't have come up with on your own. So that's why it's great. But that does mean, as a dungeon master, there's still a lot of work, because you have to roll with these players and you have to set things up for them to be able to, they can't paint with something if there's no paint there. So you're giving them the palette and the paintbrush, and they're scooping a bit of paint out and they're painting a story, and you're doing it with them. But you have to prepare the paint and the palette and make sure you have the right colors there to make the right mixes and combinations that they need to make their story work. So we are there to create those tools and provide them for you, because you can't put everything in one book. There are going to be supplements and magazines and other books that plug into those things, and that's why we're here. Anyway, yes, so like I was saying, we've got Dragon Magazine. I love this cover, it's beautiful. I just love the traditional artwork, guys. This is the stuff we're striving for. A lot of the stuff we're going to start off with is going to be digital in nature, and there's nothing wrong with that. We're going to have a good mix. And look at that one. That is damn amazing. Dragon Magazine, issue 164. I mean, this was released by, was it 89? Let me see. December 1990. Okay? This is another awesome one. And the great thing about seeing all these covers is, I'm looking at them and I'm thinking, we've got Magic items that do stuff like this. So it'd be awesome, just looking back over and seeing that there is content that sort of ties in with stuff that you're actually already doing. For example, Sam Putz, one of our writers, he developed a magic item called, I can't remember what it's called now. I think it's the Rod of Certainty, or the Rod of, I can't remember how he worded it. It's going to be in Asendor's Vault of Tragic Treasure, going up on Kickstarter in April. But it's a fishing rod. When you go fishing with it, you always catch something no matter what. But you have to roll on a D100 table, I believe, and you may catch a trout, knucklehead trout. You might catch, you know, a shark. You might catch like a tiny little fish. You might catch a giant sea monster, a kraken, an aboleth. You might pull up Cthulhu out of the murky depths, and you know, it's just this really fun, interesting item. And as soon as I saw this cover, I ordered these off eBay the other day, and I was so excited to open them this morning. I felt like it felt like Christmas. It was weird. I haven't been that excited to see a package in a long time. But when I saw this thing, this guy pulling up this dragon out of the water, it made me think of Sam Poots and his magic item. That's really cool. Anyway, we have a lot of exciting things happening. The Mag of Holding, people, the first issue, it's going to have an NPC. It's going to have all these different encounters. So it's going to be laid out. We're going to have certain areas that are going to become part of the brand. So for example, we have a little gnome called Gizcog, and he owns a shop. It's called Gizcog's Wandering Emporium, and Gizcog is actually a character in one of our settings that we're working on and bringing out later, and we'll sort of be foreshadowing him in different books that we're bringing out in the next few years. But he's always going to feature in the magazine, so he'll be one of the is it a stalwart or the mainstays, and he will, sorry, my head's all over the place after training. English is not working right now, as you can tell. So he is Gizcog and his Wandering Emporium. They're always going to appear. You're going to love it. It's going to have a little bit of art about him, a little bit of a backstory and character development and world building around him and his lore and his shop, and why is it wandering? How does that happen? Who is he? Where does he come from? You know, is there some kind of magic going on here? What world is he in? Where's he going? How do players interact with him? So we're going to answer all these questions and bring in, you know, reveal some of the mysteries around him throughout the different issues. But each magazine is going to have him displaying some of his magical items. So in the first issue of, I'm not sure if we're going to call them issues or give them titles. Like issue 1 will be called Frozen Wasteland or Winter Wasteland or something. We'll see. But anyway, I'm going to call it issue 1 for the sake of keeping it simple. Gizcog is going to be in there. He's going to have five magic items that are potions of varying degrees. Not potions, actually, they're bottles, and you open them and they do things. You'll see them in there. They're all different. You have like, I think one's called Fire Water. One's called Titan's Bellow. There's a bottle of lightning, Breath of Winter. Oh, there's a few others and I can't remember them now. And then we're also going to have Icy Gauntlets will be one of them. So it's more of a magic item that does some damage. We're going to have that Eisendoor's Vault of Tragic Treasure as well. So we're foreshadowing a little bit of that. And then in the second issue, which is going to be all about pirates, it's going to have a nautical theme, seafaring, etc. We'll have like, he'll display a bunch of things around that, maybe some nets, some magic items tied into ships, some tattoos, because we know sailors love their tattoos. Talking about stereotypes here. Anyway, my wife is trying to get the car off me here. I'm going to leave it at that. Keep an eye out for what we're doing. I just wanted to give you guys a little update. Things are going really well, and all the artwork is in for Mag of Holding issue 1. All bar 2 pieces of art. One we decided to do last minute, and one was involved with a stretch goal. But it's well on schedule to get in before the magazine goes out on March 3rd. I have a call with the layout designer and the art director on Wednesday. I have a meeting today with the editor, Kyle Gray. He's taking care of all the writing. He's the driving force behind all of that. And also the development and the game design. He takes care of all that. And he's written a really nice editor letter at the beginning of the magazine. You guys will really enjoy that. It'll give more information around, you know, what it is and what we hope to achieve. So everything's moving ahead, full steam. I've kind of let off the marketing side of things and the promotion of the Kickstarter. Things are just going to trickle in for the rest of the time. You know, I'm hoping we hit maybe $3,000. I really, really wish we could hit the, I think it was $5,000. Oh no, it was $10,000 stretch goal, so that we can put the encounter with Blizzwing, the Withering Winter, because I've seen the map for it. I've seen the dragon art. I've seen the stat block and the mini dungeon type thing. I helped develop the mini dungeon, and I just fell in love with it. It looks so good. I'm gonna run it. I'm gonna run it someday. Maybe we should do that anyway. Just run this thing and stream it and see what people think. But I don't think we're gonna hit $10,000, realistically speaking. We're currently sitting at around, I think we're just over $2,000. We have about, is it 8 or 9 days left on the Kickstarter? So we're not going to hit $10,000. But, you know, if we hit $3,000, I'll be happy, because that'll cover the costs of the magazine, thereabouts. As we improve, the costs are going to get a lot higher. We've done this one on a real shoestring budget. But yeah, that's just some information around what we're doing, keeping you guys, you people who have very kindly backed it and pledged. Thank you very much. You have my eternal, undying gratitude. And yeah, thank you. We just want to keep you posted. I'll continue to add little videos like this. They will become more coherent and more structured, I promise. At the minute, this is what we're living with. But anyway, wishing you and yours all the best, and until next time, keep rolling.